300 grams of flour.
Oh, hi there! This is Witch, and welcome to my kitchen. So, today is Yule, the winter solstice celebration. And for this celebration and the Christian celebration that's coming the nearby days, which is Christmas, we're gonna make a brioche. A brioche is a kind of soft and sweet bread that we traditionally make in France all year round, but the one we're gonna make is traditional to my home region. We call it a coquille or a coq or a cook. There's a lot of names to it, but basically it's a brioche with well, a certain shape which you're gonna see later, and sugar or raisins or chocolate. It depends on the variation, but traditionally it's sugar. So let's get started. To do this brioche, we're gonna need flour, 300 grams of it, which I'm gonna pour in here.
300 grams of flour.
There, perfect. I'm gonna be making it on the table so that you guys can see, but like you can obviously make it in a bowl if that's easier for you, and that's gonna be way less messy. So, 300 grams of flour, and we're gonna add 40 grams of sugar. Hopefully by the top and not by the bottom. Sugar. Okay. Wow, everything is falling on the side and okay. Fun. Fun. But it's okay because we cleaned our table beforehand, so we can just scoop all that back in. Good. So 40 grams of sugar. We're gonna mix it up quickly. There we go. We're gonna add 1 pinch of salt. And now we're gonna add 12 grams of yeast. I'm adding it directly to the flour because that's how mine works. But make sure to follow the instructions of your yeast because every company and every kind of yeast are differently. Some have to be diluted in milk or water, some have to be put directly in the flour. So we mix that up again, which is easier to do in a bowl, but that's fine. There we go. Now we come and we make a little mountain. That's like the pile of snow. And we're gonna add 60 milliliters of milk. I'm using coconut milk, but you can use any kind you want. Cow milk, almond milk, whatever. You can even use water. 60. Great. That's not messy at all. So we're gonna put 60 milliliters of milk in the little hole we did in the mountain. So now it's not a mountain anymore, it's a volcano. And we're gonna start slowly kneading. Again, this will be easier in a bowl because the liquid won't be going anywhere. But this is also totally doable on the table. You just have to be more careful. Again, another little volcano. There we go. And we're gonna knead it until all the ingredients are mostly incorporated and combined together. So while we're doing that, we're gonna discuss the magical properties of each of these ingredients. So first we have the flour. As I've already said in all of my cooking videos, flour means fertility, abundance, prosperity, but also protection and grounding. I mostly use it as the grounding ingredients in my cooking spells, because that's what it mostly means to me, but you can use it for anything. And also remember, like, when you're using anything in witchcraft, to focus on what the things mean to you and not what people say or the common correspondences. Okay, so as you can see, we're starting to have something pretty firm. It doesn't stick together yet because not everything is incorporated. So now we're gonna add 1 egg. Eggs mean fertility, obviously, but they also mean protection. The protection part comes mostly from the shell that protects what's inside the egg, but it still applies to everything in the egg. The coconut milk we added, while coconuts in itself represents prosperity and abundance and like wealth, all that things, because you know it comes from afar. It's kind of pricey, so obviously wealth, but also protection and health. The sugar is a sweetener, so it can be used to sweeten your spells or relationships, especially since this recipe in itself kind of is a symbol of family. You know, it's like what you eat with your family on St. Nicholas and Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. And really, we kind of eat it like all the way through December because we love it that much. But sugar also means protection and health. But if you put too much sugar in a recipe, it's gonna lose the health properties, obviously. As with everything, you know, measure is key. The yeast is just a binding agent. Binding and rising, but you can also add meaning to it if it works for you. I don't usually do that, or I could in a way use it to represent the spell getting together, like all the ingredients working together as a whole. Okay, so this is starting to look more like a dough, and now we're gonna add 50 grams of butter. 50 grams of butter that you have softened and that are now, well, ready to be kneaded, I guess. Oh. So if you want to make this recipe vegan, which you obviously can, you can switch. You can replace or substitute the egg by half of a banana. I did it once, it worked. It will taste like a banana, so you cannot lose the original taste of the brioche, but you know, at least it's vegan. And you can obviously use vegan butter or use solid, so like cold coconut oil. Today I did use some vegan butter. Okay. So we're getting near the end of it. As you can see, we're starting to have a homogeneous dough that doesn't break. It's kind of stretchy. It's still a bit sticky, so I'm gonna keep adding a bit of flour, because basically we want bread dough, but just a little bit softer. Okay, so we have a good dough now. It's lighter, it doesn't stick, it doesn't pull apart. So now we're gonna cover it in flour and let it rest. I'm gonna use the flour that's on the table because it's here. There we go. We're gonna let it sit between 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how warm your room is. If you want to accelerate this process, you can set it in the oven at the lowest temperature, which should be lower than 50 or 50 Celsius, obviously. And then we're gonna come back, knead it again, add some sugar or raisins or chocolate or whatever you want to add to it, and then bake it. Okay, so I just took the dough out of the oven that was only going at 50 degrees Celsius, just to let it rise so it's warm, and it has risen a bit. So now I'm gonna knead it, but while I do that, I'm gonna add some sugar crystals. And I don't have sugar crystals here because they don't exist in the country I'm currently in. So I'm gonna use mini marshmallows. Okay. So that's the moment where you put in your sugar crystals or your chocolate chips or your raisins or your mini marshmallows, and you start kneading them in. You can put just as much or as little as you want, it's up to your personal preference. There's no rule to it. The point is just that when you slice it, you have some in every slice. If you want some in every slice, obviously. The add-in that well, you add in, or the topping, I guess, can also be related to the spell you're doing, if you're doing it for a spell. Or it can just be a cute little addition. It's really up to you. You can do whatever you want. After all, it's your brioche and your bread, your spell. Okay, so it's mostly incorporated, hopefully homogeneously. So now we're gonna separate it into 2 equal parts, or mostly equals. It's a bit difficult to do. Basically, you just strangle it and then you twist. There we go. And now we're gonna take one of them and separate it in 2 pieces. You strangle and you twist. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna knead a little bit more. And now we're gonna place them on an oven rack with some parchment paper. So basically you want sort of a big sausage. And then you're gonna add the 2 other ones. For those ones you're gonna make little balls that you're gonna place here and try to combine them, which would be easier with water. Okay, so I'm gonna take it back. You apply some water on this part and some more on here, so that it kind of adheres together. There we go. And we do the same for that one. We make a small bowl. We apply water on one side, water on the big sausage, and we combine. So my ratio is kind of off, as you can see, because, well, the 2 balls on the side are supposed to be smaller than the sausage, but oh well. I can still try and reduce it that way. Sort of. I don't know. Should I try again? And that to this one. There we go. It's looking a little bit better. And I mean, that's just bread, like bread dough, so it's really malleable. You can really like shape it as if it was clay, mostly. There we go, that's looking better. Okay. So that's about the shape that you want to get. This isn't perfect, but nobody is. And this is like some handmade like brioche, so this is not gonna be perfect. Okay. So now we can add some on top for decoration. Some marshmallows or crystals or whatever, which is gonna be a bit hard for me because I'm using marshmallows and it doesn't really stick. Maybe with some water it would. Bagels? B-A-G-I-C-K? Wait, what do you want to spell?
Pickles.
Oh, pickles. P-I-C-K-L-E-S.
Sorry.
Okay, anyways. I was placing some marshmallows on top of my brioche before I was rudely interrupted. So this would obviously be easier to do if you used basically anything else but mini marshmallows, honestly. Like chocolate chips or like raisins or even real crystal sugars. Or sugar crystals, yeah. Anyways. But hey, it's not looking that bad. And this part is really just for fun, for it to look cute. And my marshmallows are probably gonna melt in the oven anyways, so who cares? Up. Okay. So now we're gonna let this rest and rise again for approximately 40 minutes or until your oven is preheated to 180 degrees Celsius. And then we're gonna bake it for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how the oven is gonna perform.
The cat was eating the bottom.
And then we're gonna bake it in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 to 25 minutes. 15 to 25 minutes, basically until it's well risen and golden. And then we can just let it cool and slice it like bread and eat it any way you want, like bread. And yeah, but before that, we're gonna apply some egg yolk to it so it gets nice and golden. Or we're gonna try to, because I'm doing this with a fork and this is not the most effective way to do it. Okay. So, well and covered in egg yolk, so well that it's going everywhere. Alright, so that's what we ended up with. If you want to do this at home, I advise not using mini marshmallows, because as you can see, it did not turn out very well. But I mean, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be disgusting, it's just weird. So yeah, that's obviously not how it looks like traditionally, but who cares about traditions, right? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it a lot. Give it a like if you did like it. Comment if you have anything to say about it, like how you liked the video, if you want to try it, like, or if you tried it, tell me how it went. Or you can also tell me about traditions that you follow, that you made with your family or with yourself, or that are in your where you live, like traditions about Yule or Christmas. Yeah, share with a friend if you think they'd like it, and I'll see you in the next video. Merry Yule and Merry Christmas!